Good Marvelous Monday, everybody. Today we are going to be taking a look and reviewing the new cards for the April 2024 season. So, for the April 2024 season, the first card we need to talk about is Baron Zemo, as he is the Battle Pass card. He is what you will unlock for buying the Battle Pass. So, Baron Zemo is a 3/5 now. His power has gone up a little bit. I believe he was a 3/4 previously. That on reveal, recruit the lowest cost card from your opponent's deck to your side of this location. So this is the first time we've seen the word recruit. So all that means is that he will steal a card from your opponent's deck and put it on your side. So there's lots of synergy there with this, depending on what your opponent's deck is, and of course in your own deck. So this could be used in lots of decks that like to hurt the opponent. It is also a 3 cost card, which means you can use it with Gladiator and Silver Surfer to have a halfway decent Surfer deck with that. There's lots of fun things, though. You can even attempt to make a quote unquote mill deck. I don't think mill is a real thing in this game. There's a few decks that certainly, if you knock out the rest of their deck, they cannot win. Like Surfer, for instance, will really struggle without Silver Surfer, but to actually deck out someone is not the worst case, especially if they already have the win conditions they need in their hand. So you could use it, though, combined with things like Cable, Gladiator, Yondu, Absorbing Man, to just completely wipe out the remainder of the opponent's deck. And things like the Baron Zemu gives you the card, and so does Cable. So with that, you'd be just stealing the opponent's card and taking away and adding to your own, which is good considering the Gladiator would just destroy it. So it's good that you get it and you can use it for yourself. Yondu, on the other hand, is kind of weak considering when you play it. Like if they have 3 cards left and you usually want to see your big power cards at the end of the game, Yonduing on turn 5 is usually not the greatest thing to do unless you know they need like Wong or Silver Surfer, because certain decks, they're just trying to draw that Infinite or whatever, and you're not hitting Infinite with Yondu. You know what I mean? So Yondu is a very situational. I don't think it would work too well. I don't think that'd be the strongest deck in the world, but Baron Zemo as a whole is a pretty decent card. It's not the strongest season pass card that we have had. However, it does have its place in certain decks, that is for sure. And there's some fun things you can do with it. And of course, if you just want to play a deck that annoys the opponent, you could play the Cable, Gladiator Beast, Baron Zemo, Yondu, Spider Ham, Absorbing Man, Iron Lad type deck, and just go off, maybe throw in a Dr. Octopus, something like that, to steal everything out of their hand. So you take everything out of the deck, steal everything out of their hand, throw it in one lane. Maybe you win the game. You know what I mean? So there is some troll level to that, but it does have some legitimate uses as well. Uh, but let's talk about the rest of the cards coming out during this season. So, first and foremost, tomorrow we'll see the release of Red Hulk. All right, I say tomorrow, but maybe today when you're watching this video. So, Red Hulk is a 6/11. When your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy +4 power. So, what exactly does that mean? So, that means, how High Evo allows Hulk, when he's in your hand or in play, to gain +2. Well, this one gets +4 for the same thing. If he is in your hand or in play, he will get +4 anytime your opponent does not use all of their energy for a turn. Pretty crazy, because there's definitely turns where you're passing with 1 or 2 energy, and if you have this in your hand, guess what? He just turned into a 6/15, a 6/19. So I do kind of feel like a Red Hulk might make Blob obsolete, or have its place in a Blob deck, if you know what I'm saying. So it is an interesting card, to say the least. I think of all of the cards coming out, potentially it is the strongest, most meta affecting of these new cards, just because his raw power is insane. Think about how good Giganto is as a 6'14", and he can only go in the left lane. Well, Red Hulk says, "What's up, dog? I can go wherever I want at 6'15" if they just pass one time. So, Red Hulk is one of those cards, ideally, you do want to have it in your opening hand to get the most value out of it. But you also don't want him to be far left because you don't want him to get spider hammed, right? Although him getting Spider Ham might not be the worst thing ever if it's already been a turn and you can get down Mobius. Well, guess what? That's a 0 power giant card, right? So Red Hulk is a big, big card. It will have a fair bit of play. I could definitely see this card seeing play. You can see it with Hope Summers decks, Lockjaw decks, uh, a lot of different things are probably going to have this in it, to be honest, teching it. We might see High Evo falling off in favor just a little bit, at least for the first week of this season, for the simple fact of the fear of the Red Hulk. But at the same time, maybe not. Maybe they just don't care and they play through it. It really depends on what the thought process is for the player. Personally, I think I would just, if I'm using High Evo, which I would never do, at least not on stream. Anyway, personally, I think what I would do is not worry about it, and it is a one of card, right? You're only going to be able to steal one lane with it, so to speak. So you need to be winning the other lanes to make sure that it matters. That is also the same issue that High Evo has with its Hulk itself, is that if you're not already guaranteed to win some other lanes, he's just kind of there. But I could definitely see Red Hulk being a big thing. So you could just go team big boys, just big bodies everywhere in a deck using like Atuma, Coal Obsidian, uh, maybe Ronin over instead of Devil Dinosaur, like Ronin, and then of course Blob, with Red Hulk and Scar, the son of Hulk, because cheese out Scar with all your big boys. So I think there is some potential for this deck to be his own thing. However, he does just fit nicely in that 6 energy slot because of what he does. So Red Hulk, everybody's very excited about the card. A lot of people talk about it, and it has some pretty cool variants. I'll put those up on the screen for you now. And now, the next card we are going to talk about after that is USA Agent. I almost said USA Agent, but that's not it. It's US Agent. All right. He is an ongoing 2/3. So 2 cost, 3 power. 4, 5, and 6 cost cards here have -3 power. So he -3s any 4, 5, 6 cost cards in the lane that he is in. Uh this is a tough card. So I do think out of all of this season pass cards, not season pass, but this season's new cards, this one is the weakest. It definitely has a spot to find itself in the meta. Like there are decks that will play this. Um, I don't think it's the greatest deck ever. I mean, the greatest card ever for sure, but it definitely has a place in the meta for it. So I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. It kind of makes Doom suck if you run into Doctor Doom, but overall, a lot of decks just don't care. You know what I mean? Like the -3 won't be that big of a deal. But if your whole deck is minusing everything already and you don't have Luke Cage, then maybe it's, good. So there are some ways to play this card. It could go in like a Cerebro deck, because he is a 3 power. So it could go in like a Cerebro 3. You can use it with just Hazmat, etc., just to make your opponent's stuff as small as possible. But ultimately, I do believe this is the weakest of the season cards to be coming out. And then the next one, this one I like a lot. I will be trying to pull this one with keys more than likely. I don't think he's super duper strong, but I think it's a very fun card, and I like the way it works. All right, so it's another trolley card. This is a pretty trolly season, like a lot of minusing and stuff this season, except for that Red Hulk who just gains crazy power. So Red Guardian. All right, Red Guardian is coming. He is a 3/3. On reveal, afflict the lowest power enemy card here with -2 power and remove its text. All right. So what does that mean? It means if you slam that on a nebula, you don't need to worry about playing any on that lane anymore for the nebula. You have negated nebula and you minus two'd it. All right. So there's so many things that this card could just be crazy with, not just for the minus two, but for the simple fact that it completely removes the card's text. It negates the abilities of the cards. That is very, very strong, as it only affects one card, not the entire thing. Like if you want a Cosmo and a Wong lane, well, now you can't play your own on reveals there. But with this, if they just have Wong chilling there and you slam this with priority, guess what? Wong has now been negated. Okay, so Dracula has now had its text removed because it's the lowest power enemy card. If they have Dracula, he's usually sitting there at 4-1. You're going to make him a -1 and remove its text. All right. Red Guardian is very fun. And because he is a 3-3, that enables you to play it in Silver Surfer. So as you've seen from my videos, I'm a big fan of Surfer decks. So I do believe this fits in nicely with Silver Surfer. Just toss it on in the deck. Maybe replace, I don't know, if you're playing Gladiator in your build, you could place Gladiator with it. So I think it's a very, very fun card that could easily go into Silver Surfer. Uh, it's cool. It's minusing two and negating a card, negating anything, not just ongoing. That's the important part there. It's not like Rogue where it just steals the ongoing ability and makes it your own. No, it totally turns off the text of the card. That is awesome. It's the first time we've seen a card that totally does that. It's basically Deep Space turned into a card. I love it. I'm for it. I would definitely be trying to get Red Guardian. All right. And then next up, we have White Widows. So Black Widow is there. And now we have White Widow to join. And White Widow will be a 2-2 on reveal. Add a Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side of this location. So, what the heck is Widow's Kiss, you might ask? Widow's Kiss is a 0-0 ongoing card. This has -4 power. All right, so it is a 0 -4. But disable this ability if your opponent fills up this location, essentially. So, the full text ongoing, this has -4 power. Disable this ability if your side of this location is full. So what that means is if they fill up that location, it is now just a 0-0 instead of a -4, but it forced them to play 3 cards in that zone to fill the location. So it is a pretty strong card with control. So it's a nutty card. It's one of those wild cards that just has crazy stuff going for it. And it's this, like I said, this is a pretty scumbaggy looking season. You see all these cards coming out. They're very scumbag oriented cards. So oh, it's pretty cool. You can Professor X on that zone and make sure it's a -4. You can't kill it with Killmonger because it's a 0-0. I believe previously it did have a 1 cost, but they took it away. So I think this card is great. I think it's gonna be a fun card. I think you'll see Annihilus decks playing this card. Um, do I think it's gonna be like the greatest card? No, of course not. But I think a lot of people are gonna get really annoyed by White Widow thrown in some of these other decks that are already out there with the debris and the goblins and etc. So I can definitely see this being in an Annihilus deck with Sentry and all those fun cards just driving you insane. Tier 1, no. Tier 2. But very, very, very strong. Nonetheless, definitely can get you to infinite if you tried. And then the last card coming out is Valentina. So Valentina is a 2-3. On reveal, add a random 6 cost card to your hand. Okay, not terrible. But then give it -2 cost and -3 power. So it becomes a 4 cost card. So you get a 6 cost card for 4 power, for 4 energy, but it loses 3 power. Let's think what kind of deck could potentially use this card. What deck likes to add cards to hand? Oh, I know. Loki. So we have another card to buff up the Loki decks. So it'll give you a card to use to swap for Loki, or It'll give you a 6 cost card for 4 that you actually want to use. It really depends on what the card is, right? If it gives you something like Magneto at 4/9, that's still really good, right? Like it has a lot of potential. If it gives you something like Destroyer, maybe you don't want to play it, right? You don't want to destroy everything unless you can still win the game. So there's a lot this card can do. If it gives you Giganto, that's a 4/11, not terrible, right? Helicarrier is a 4/7. Hulk 4/9, not bad, not bad. Red Hulk 4/8, but thanks to his ability, he can get bigger. He can get bigger. He can become a 4/12, 4/16, etc. Uh, Infinite would be a 4/17, and if you got it on turn 2, you could simply skip turn 3, drop a 17 power card on turn 4. Uh, There's a few other things. Let's see. Living Tribunal situational if you'd actually play it. The Magneto mentioned that very good. Thanos 4/7. Be okay, right? Be okay. It's a good stat. Good stat. There's a lot of things though that you'd be okay with it just adding it to hand and shuffling it away with the Loki and turning it into something else. Alioth can win you a game. A 4/1 Alioth. I mean, I could still do things, right? I don't know. It's pretty crazy card. Loki's gonna love it. Definitely can see it being in a Loki deck, right? Why not? So I think overall for this season, Red Hulk is the card everybody is expecting to do something because he has so much power. But if you look further into some of these other cards coming out, I think somebody's going to cook up something that's really going to be annoying and just ruin people's day. You know what I mean? Maybe it's not going to be the strongest deck in the world, but you'll run into it on Conquest. He'll consistently control the game. There's a lot of new control minus negative cards coming, and I hope you're ready for it, guys. I know I sure as heck am not, as I still do not own a Nihilus. But hey, it is what it is, and we'll see you tomorrow for Time Wizard Tuesday. Keep on snapping, everybody. Thanks for watching and hope you enjoy this new season of Marvel Snap.